What if every word you spoke could create magic or unleash a curse? Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful fairy tales ever told, a story where kindness is rewarded with diamonds and pearls, but cruelty brings forth toads and serpents. This is the tragic tale of two sisters, a mysterious fairy, and the choices that changed their lives forever. Welcome to Diamonds and Toads. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and whispering woods, there lived a widow with her two daughters. But this was no ordinary family, for within these walls lived both an angel and a demon. The younger daughter, Rose, was the very picture of her late father, gentle, kind-hearted, and beautiful both inside and out. She had golden hair that caught the sunlight and eyes that sparkled with compassion. But her mother despised her for this very reason. She was a constant reminder of the husband she had lost. The elder daughter, Fanchon, was her mother's pride and joy. She was vain, cruel, and selfish, a mirror image of the widow herself. While Rose toiled from dawn to dusk, scrubbing floors and fetching water, Fanchon lounged in silk dresses, admiring herself in every reflective surface she could find. The widow treated Rose like a servant in her own home, forcing her to sleep in the kitchen while Fanchon enjoyed a feather bed, but Rose never complained. Her kindness was as natural to her as breathing. One particularly hot summer day, the widow sent Rose to fetch water from the well, a journey of nearly a mile through the scorching heat. Rose's hands were blistered, her feet ached, but she walked with quiet determination, humming a gentle tune her father once taught her. When she reached the ancient well, covered in moss and surrounded by wildflowers, Rose set down her pitcher and began to draw water. But then she heard a voice.
"Please, dear child, might you spare a drink of water for a weary traveler?"
Rose turned to see an old woman dressed in tattered rags, her face lined with age and exhaustion. Without hesitation, Rose smiled warmly.
"Of course, dear lady. Please, rest here in the shade."
"Let me rinse the pitcher so the water is fresh and cool for you."
Rose carefully cleaned the pitcher, drew the freshest water from the deepest part of the well, and held it steady so the old woman could drink comfortably. She even offered her own handkerchief to wipe the woman's brow. As the old woman drank, something extraordinary happened. Her hunched back straightened. Her tattered rags shimmered and transformed into a gown of starlight. Her wrinkled face became young and radiant. Before Rose stood a beautiful fairy, glowing with ethereal light.
"Sweet Rose,"
the fairy said, her voice like music.
"your kindness has touched my heart. You saw not a beggar, but a soul in need. You gave not from obligation, but from genuine compassion. For this I grant you a gift. From this moment forward, with every word you speak, flowers and jewels shall fall from your lips, diamonds, pearls, and roses, each one a reflection of your beautiful soul."
"Thank you,"
she whispered, and with each word, more treasures appeared. The fairy smiled and vanished in a shower of golden light, leaving Rose alone with her miraculous gift. When Rose returned home, her mother was furious at her delay until Rose began to explain. With every word, diamonds clattered to the floor, pearls bounced across the table, and fragrant roses bloomed at her feet. The widow's anger transformed instantly into greedy delight.
"Where did you get this gift?"
she demanded, snatching up the jewels. Rose, ever truthful, told her mother everything about the old woman at the well. The widow's mind raced with possibilities. If Rose could receive such a gift, surely her favorite daughter, her beautiful, superior Fanchon, would receive something even greater. "Fanchon!" she shrieked.
Go to the well at once. Find this woman and be kind to her. You'll receive an even better gift than your sister.
Fanchon was furious. Walk all that way? In this heat? Ruin her silk slippers? But the promise of magical gifts was too tempting to resist. She grabbed the finest silver pitcher from the house and set off, grumbling with every step. When Fanchon reached the well, she didn't have to wait long. But the figure who approached was not an old beggar woman. Instead, a magnificently dressed young woman appeared, a princess in shimmering silks and jewels, radiating grace and beauty.
Excuse me, miss. I've travelled far and I'm terribly thirsty. May I trouble you for a drink?
Fanchon looked the woman up and down with contempt. This wasn't a poor beggar, this was someone clearly wealthy and important. Where was the test? Where was the fairy?
Do I look like a servant? Get your own water. I didn't walk all this way to serve the likes of you. This pitcher is silver, far too fine for common use.
Besides, you're perfectly capable of drawing water yourself.
The princess's kind expression hardened, and then, just as before, a transformation occurred. But this time, the beautiful princess became something far more terrifying. The fairy in her true form, eyes blazing with righteous anger. "Fanchon." The fairy's voice thundered.
I gave you the same test I gave your sister.
But where she saw a soul in need,
You saw only an inconvenience. Where she offered kindness, you showed only cruelty. Your heart is as ugly as your sister's is beautiful.
Therefore, with every word you speak, toads and serpents shall fall from your mouth, each one a reflection of the venom in your soul.
Fanchon opened her mouth to protest, and immediately, a large toad plopped onto the ground, followed by a hissing snake. She screamed, and more creatures appeared, slimy, writhing, horrifying. The fairy vanished, leaving Fanchon alone with her curse. Surrounded by the creatures of her own making, Fanchon ran home in tears, but with every sob, more toads and serpents emerged. When her mother saw what had happened, she was horrified, not for her daughter's suffering, but for the loss of potential wealth. In her fury, the widow blamed Rose for everything.
This is your fault!
She screamed.
You've cursed your sister with your witchcraft! Get out of my house! I never want to see you again!
And so, poor Rose was driven from the only home she'd ever known, cast out into the forest with nothing but the clothes on her back and the magical gift she'd never asked for. But fate had other plans. As Rose wandered through the forest, she encountered a young prince who had lost his way during a hunt. When she spoke to offer him directions, diamonds and roses fell at his feet. The prince was enchanted not by the jewels, but by Rose's gentle spirit and kind heart. He fell in love with her immediately, and soon after, they were married in a ceremony more beautiful than any fairy tale. Rose became a beloved princess, using her gift to help the poor and needy throughout the kingdom. As for Fanchon, even her own mother eventually drove her away, unable to bear the constant toads and serpents. She wandered into the forest, alone and bitter, and was never seen again. And so, the tale of diamonds and toads teaches us the most important lesson of all. True beauty comes from within. Kindness, compassion, and generosity are worth more than all the jewels in the world, while cruelty and vanity will always lead to a bitter end. Thank you for watching Enchanted Tales Unfold. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more magical tales.